The Ancestors Are Smiling is a book about family. To be precise, it's a book about the descendants of my great-great-grandfather, Otho Williams, who had been enslaved in Maryland. The Ancestors Are Smiling is stories about his descendants. Chapter 10 is my chapter because I'm one of his favorite fans. And here's just a little bit about what you can find in my Chapter 10, entitled, It Takes a Family. "What are those tiny lights floating in the air?" I asked my cousin Julie, who I met for the first time in my life. "Haven't you ever seen fireflies before?" she responded in her charming, slight Midwestern drawl. When dusk muted the sun's rays on that humid summer night in July 1967, my sister, brother, and I began to see lighted objects flitting about in the air right in front of our eyes. We tried to catch the gleaming fairies inside our cupped hands, and once we were successful, we would carefully open our hands just a smidgen to peer inside at those miraculous phosphorescent beings which tickled the inside of our palms. We lived in California, the Disneyland home of Tinker Bell. However, we didn't imagine that fairies really existed, but here they were in little Mount Vernon near the center of Ohio. 3 days prior, my mom's sister, brother, and I packed our clothes in brown paper bags for a 3-day cross-country adventure on the sleek California Zephyr passenger train. On the first day, the train traveled from Sacramento, south to Los Angeles, California, then east through the dry, gray-beige high desert of Nevada. As the sun set on that first day, we marveled at the white expanse of salt flats through the Salt Lake City in Utah, which gleamed brightly in the deep blue hues of the nighttime sky. We could only afford the cheapest seats on the train. That meant sleeping in an uncomfortable sitting position in our chairs for 2 long nights. We were far from being rich people, so Mom brought most of our food with us in brown grocery bags. Thankfully, she let us eat breakfast in the bright and shiny dining car because the milk was cold and fresh there, perfect for our little boxes of cereal. The nearly floorless space between train cars was so noisy and so scary because you could see the ground racing underneath between the constantly moving floor plates. That is, if you were brave enough to look down. We kids loved running from one end of the long train to the other all day long. From our passenger car, through the bathroom car, then the dining car, then more passenger cars, then a fancy lounge car, then the dome car, then another lounge car, then the cars with fancier seats, all the way to the caboose. From the caboose, we could look back upon the tracks, extending way, way out in the distance. It wasn't until later that I learned my paternal grandfather, Austin Marshall, was a Pullman porter who got to ride trains every day for a living. Boy, was he lucky. I hope you enjoyed this excerpt from my chapter in The Ancestors Are Smiling, now available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle version.